Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to get lost, and I mean that in the best way possible. We're diving deep into the heart of Brighton to explore its most historic, most atmospheric quarter, the Lanes.
You see, the Lanes isn't just a place you can point to on a map. It's a whole experience. It's this living, breathing labyrinth where you can feel centuries of history in these narrow little alleyways, all while the whole place is just buzzing with modern energy.
And to really get what this place is all about, we've got to look at its two sides, the ancient and the modern. That's where you find the real soul of the Lanes. The local paper, the Argus, calls it a winding labyrinth. And honestly, they've absolutely nailed it. It really does feel like this treasure trove where you never know what you're going to find around the next corner. Now, what's so cool is this mashup of old and new. You're literally walking past these perfectly preserved little cottages where fishermen lived back in the 1700s, and right next door, there's a super cool cafe or a high-end boutique. The history here isn't locked away in a museum. It's just part of everyday life.
So, how did this all come to be? Well, for that, we need to jump in a time machine and rewind the clock like a few hundred years.
Yep, before it was the Brighton we know, it was Brighthelmstone, a pretty humble fishing town. And that maze-like layout we love getting lost in today, it wasn't designed for tourists. Nope. It was carved out by the day-to-day needs of a 16th century fishing community. And what a journey it's been. You can see it right here. It goes from this fishing village to a super trendy seaside resort in the 18th century. But what's really important is that it never stopped evolving. You've got Brighton Square popping up in the 60s and Hannington's Lane just a few years ago in 2019. It shows this place is still growing, still changing.
Okay, here's a word you absolutely need to know if you want to sound like a local. Twitton. It's this fantastic old Sussex word for those super narrow paths that squeeze between buildings. The Lanes isn't really a grid of streets, it's a network of twittons. And tucked away in these twittons, you find these incredible pieces of history that you can still, walk into and have a pint in, like the Cricketers. People say it's Brighton's oldest pub, been around since 1547. Can you imagine? That's almost 500 years of stories soaked right into the walls.
But it's not all quaint and cozy history. Get this, the pub's own records tell this pretty shocking story of its very first landlord, a guy named Derek Carver. He was actually executed, burnt at the stake for his religious beliefs. I mean, wow. It's a reminder of just how deep and sometimes dramatic the history here really is.
All right, so let's fast forward back to today. Because as much as the past is everywhere, the Lanes is thriving on a very modern buzz. Let's talk about what makes it tick right now. We're talking amazing food, beautiful jewelry, and all sorts of one-of-a-kind shops.
If you want to get a sense of Brighton's food scene, just look at this number, 72,000. That's how many votes locals cast in the city's restaurant awards. People here are seriously passionate about food, and the Lanes is ground zero for some of the best stuff.
And the quality? It's just outstanding. You've got these brilliant, award-winning places like Lost in the Lanes right in the thick of it. And then you have these absolute institutions like English's that have been serving up incredible seafood for more than a century.
And speaking of gems, the Lanes is, well, quite literally the jewel in Brighton's crown. This is the city's famous jewelry quarter, and it's a total magnet for anyone looking for something special that sparkles.
The variety here is just incredible. You can be hunting for a vintage engagement ring one minute, then talking to a designer about a custom-made modern piece the next. And it's all mixed in with countless independent boutiques, quirky gift shops, and, of course, you're never more than a few steps away from a historic pub when you need a break. Okay, now for a really important insider tip. This is something that trips up almost every single visitor, so let's get this straight once and for all.
So what is the deal with the Lanes versus North Lane? People get them mixed up all the time. Even some locals get it wrong. But there's actually a very clear difference.
Okay, it's actually super simple when you break it down. The Lanes, that's what we've been talking about, is south of North Street. It's the old historic bit famous for jewelry and those ancient twittons. North Lane is a completely different neighborhood, to the north, of course. It has this fantastic bohemian alternative vibe. Fun fact, it was actually a slum that was saved from being demolished back in the 70s. So yeah, two totally different places with two very different stories.
And the name itself gives you a clue. Why Lane with an I? Well, it's an old Sussex word for a big open field. North Lane got its name because way back when it was just farmland, located north of the old fishing town Brighthelmstone. See? It all connects.
So, you've got the history, you know the lingo, you won't get the names mixed up.
How do you actually make the most of a visit?
The first, and honestly the most important rule, you have to be ready to get lost. The real magic of the lanes happens when you just let go and let the labyrinth lead you.
Here's your game plan. It's simple. 1. Put your phone away. Seriously. Just wander aimlessly and see where the Twittons take you. 2. Eat and drink local. Whether it's an award-winning restaurant or a centuries-old pub, the quality is just fantastic. And 3. Look deeper. Look up at the buildings, read the little plaques, just soak in all those hidden stories that are all around you.
Because that really is the heart of the lanes. It's a place that rewards curiosity. Every single time you visit, you'll find something new. A hidden shop, a forgotten story, the perfect little pub. The only real question left is, what secrets are you going to discover?